Howdy, folks. This is Vile Mike here, and I think we have a lot to talk about because I was gone for 1 fucking week. 1 week, people. All right.
Nothing happened in 1 week.
It feels like the stuff that happened directly after what I normally would have done on the live stream on Sunday was a month ago. All right. So what things should we talk about first? I mean, okay, let's start out with what I did for the image. Did you guys see the image for the or the thumbnail?
Oh,
No.
another one of his truth postings, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Okay, so
who is making that shit, man? That's just like. Although I have a funny story. I have a funny story about something I came across regarding, the crown he was given by South Korea. Apparently that was a fucking troll crown because it was the replica of a crown of a deposed king who was like deposed for like doing evil shit.
Oh, Daniel, did you see what the ambassador to Germany gave to Trump?
No, sorry, can you repeat that? What did he give to Trump or she give to Trump?
The ambassador to Germany gave Trump a gift and in the Oval White House or the Oval room in the White House about a month and a half ago.
I might have seen it. I don't remember at this point. Everyone's always trying to like pretend to suck up to him.
It was a genealogical history of his grandfather.
Oh.
Including all his history and dealings with the Nazi Party.
Well, yeah, I mean, wasn't he well known?
But they did so as a gift.
Well, that's nice.
Saying, what a great history he has and all this stuff. And he sits there because you're giving him something. He just sits there, nods as if he knows what is really going on.
I know.
And when it was Mrs. Vile that sent that to me. And she could not stop laughing.
Yeah. He's pretty easy to troll. So
but no, for the image. No, I didn't show the full image, of course, because I got to crop it for the damn live stream.
Mm-hmm.
But I just imagine if any other person, not just Democrat, but even a Republican, posted an image of them in full gold armor with a Nazi eagle on a throne, the president sitting on that throne,
I know,
with the opposition kneeling before him in defeat.
I know. So,
and not just saying, "Oh, it exists," but saying, reposting or posting it to social media.
Well, and even worse, it wasn't like that they were like defeated foes. They were like in supplication. They had bent to his will voluntarily, which I thought was even creepier.
I mean, anyone else does this.
Anything he does, there's not a single other president who would get away with any of the shit that he gets away with.
I don't know if he gets away with it or it just comes down to
nobody.
What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it?
Well, that's just exactly it.
I mean, and here's the thing. Okay, I'm not trying to come to his defense, but I'm going to say this because I believe it's very.
Oh no, it's fine.
It's very true. I think that as arrogant and egotistical as he is, if any other president were like that and just didn't give a flying fuck about what people thought or said, if any other president did that, they'd be able to do the same thing. Just the thing is most presidents aren't there to be divisive. They may not agree with the other party. They may not get along with the other party, but their job is to still try to work with the other party.
Most presidents would also have a cabinet, or people around them that would actually call them out when they're doing stupid shit. He's got a bunch of people around him and they're going to call him out. They're not going to say freaking word one about anything he says or does.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking, and I'm worried that this is going to become the norm. That posting this type of stuff that is clearly divisive is going to just become the norm for all parties.
I don't see that yet. Eventually I do, because so one of the big problems in Washington right now, one of the biggest problems is there's not an influx of younger people. We're still dealing with people that have been there. I mean, listen, I saw a post of Nancy Pelosi at President Kennedy's inaugural ball. Now, granted, she was probably a teenager and she wasn't in politics yet, but that's like 60 plus years right there of being around the structure of politics. We need people
was she in politics at that point though, or was she?
No, and I said that, but because you are that close or get a picture with the president at a certain point, what that means is, one, your family's connected. Two, you are already being groomed to go that direction, more than likely. And she was. I mean, no, I'm not complaining that's how she grew up. What I'm saying is in today's society, we don't have anybody who, I don't know, our government, as far as the legislative branch, should be.
You guys are getting some younger people in now.
Yeah, some, but we should be 30 to 50, majority of it in our age. We're still, majority of our age is, our average age of our Congress is, I think, 68 or something. Like that. Let me see.
I think it was like the number of Gen Xers in Congress right now is far lower than.
Okay, I'm sorry. Beginning of the 119th Congress, the average age across Congress was 57.9. Senators was 63.9. The overwhelming majority, 96% of members of Congress, four-year college. Are four-year college graduates. So I mean, we're still talking, upper 50s, lower 60s.
Okay, I'm on Pew Research because I just Googled it. The average age of a Senate member as of right now is 64.7 years. For the House of Representatives, I got the crows crowing. Is 57.5 years.
Yeah. Which that number should be in the high 40s, really. That's where it should be. And that's so here's the thing. We're dealing with a very antiquated group of people. And the younger we go, to your point, Mike, to circle this back around, the younger we go, as people age out and we get younger and we get into the more technologically based people, you might start seeing this more often. Currently, the next 8 years or so, I really don't see it, because here's the thing. Everybody in the Democratic Party this past time, he was doing this stuff before he got elected.
I know.
And people did not fight fire with fire. And I don't think they should, because there's no way to win that. Everybody just looks at this stuff and says, what the fuck is he doing? And just shakes their head and goes like, I don't know. And all of the people that will vote for him love him. And the problem you had was the people who just thought things weren't going the right direction.
I had a comment on
that
how
they did not care that he was who he is. Some people just cannot vote for something other than that R or that elephant. They just cannot.
Just because I wanted a comparison, I looked up the average age according to the U.S. Census, and the average age of an American in the U.S. Census is about 40 years old.
Exactly. Okay.
So yeah,
My,
they
my
are
comment
skewing.
is not necessarily the age of the person, because some of the older people in there are great as well.
Bernie
It's
Sanders.
how
saying that.
long they're in there for. And sometimes people don't start to get involved until they're a bit older, until they're more established and that kind
Yeah.
of thing. And sometimes that's sort of like, they don't have the motivation to do it maybe until they get older. But I mean, if they're doing it for the right reasons, I don't have a problem with the person being older and being in there. It's how long they stay. Like, somebody shouldn't be in there for, like, Mitch McConnell, who's been in there for like an eternity.
Well, and that's the thing, is that I think that's an indictment on our society in America. I always say the first thing Americans do is think that everything, that we know how things should be. Like when we go overseas, and I don't know the last time you were over in UK, Dandelion, but I know you're from over
Well, it's
there,
been a
or you
while,
lived over there.
Mhm.
Okay, but if you don't spend a fair penny there, your bathroom is an open space that has a drain in the middle of the room. It's mostly tiled. It has a shower head and the toilet basically open to each other in a lot of places over in Europe. If you don't spend a fair penny to have a very Americanized, what we consider here, a very Americanized bathroom. And I see it because I watch these house hunter shows and stuff, and people walk into these bathrooms and are like, wow, this is weird. No, it isn't.
Yeah.
So we here, our problem is we don't do what other countries do, such as majority of other countries don't stuff their older people into homes and leave them be. They put them to work doing some small menial task in the community. They teach their kids about the importance of civic duty and stuff quicker. Some countries, and I'm not saying the United States should go this way per se, but some countries require 2-year military service. And there are certain things that the United States doesn't do. And one of those things leads to the fact that we don't have young people in politics, because, like Dandelion said, there isn't a need. They don't feel that need. They'll complain about it like every other American will. They'll say, oh, well, why are they doing this? They don't listen to me. They don't care about my age. Well, then stand up and do something about that. Start working towards, find out what you have to do to get on your school board. I mean, if I ever heard, and I don't know what the rules are, I'd have to look this up, but if I ever heard of a kid 2 years out of high school being on a school board, I would automatically want to vote for that kid. More than likely. Why? Because they are closer to understanding the real deal.
We have people in high school running for the school board here.
Okay, well, that's fine. I don't know if we can do that here. All I'm saying is that I would much rather have somebody who is either in high school, at least 1 or 2 people, or somebody who's just been out of high school being on a school board, because they at least understand some of the actual problems from a student's perspective, not from the adult's perspective. Now, you can't have that across the whole thing or it'd be chaos, okay?
No.
But that's the thing. Influx of youth is what the Congress needs. Influx of youth is what the presidential the position of president needs. I mean, literally, if anywhere, and I say that about Joe Biden, I say that about Trump, I'll say that about 90% of the people that go out there.
When you're getting that, though, also you are getting those young, motivated people in there. Look at like David Hogg, isn't he in Congress now?
None of them. I don't feel like any of them speak to a representative base.
Yeah, the only one that I can think of is AOC right now, for her age,
and she's too much of a wild card.
He was the Parkland shooting, one of the Parkland shooting people. He's the one that was harassed down the street by Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he's made it, his life's work to sort of bring about gun reform. I mean, and yes, he's only got the one thing. He's like, maybe he's passionate about other stuff as well. I don't know, but.
Well, speaking of Marjorie Taylor Greene, how does everyone feel about her resigning her office?
Yeah, more power to her. I don't like that woman much at all.
I don't either. She's
but
almost like
not feeling the need to like support Trump again in a new term. So
see here. Okay, go ahead. I'll let you guys go first. Sorry.
I was going to say, she to me just represents the mirrored image of AOC. She is the exact opposite, but just as much of a wild card. And I don't know. I just it amazes me that anybody ever voted somebody that toxic to.
She's very
Congress.
popular in her congressional district. She's very popular.
According to the people I've talked to that were from there, they don't even. They didn't.
Well,
like,
when
majority,
she originally ran, it was against somebody who was a local physician, and they didn't want to lose the position, and that's why they voted for her, not him.
I mean, yeah, and so it does not surprise me because honestly, she has pretty much said she doesn't like politics. She doesn't like politicians, and I think she's done with it. She's starting to learn that no matter how loud her voice is, what she thinks is important is not going to get listened to. Again, whether or not you like it or not, if you're not a politician, you're not going to make it long in Washington. Only reason why Trump survives there is because he's in the presidency. He's not in the weeds with the rest of the politicians.
Yeah,
there's a way to do things. And again, I'm not going to get into the semantics of are politicians corrupt. Is Congress corrupt? Is it? I
hate to say that. I've really got to go. I got to go and do the chickens, and I've got to get ready. I'm going out in half an hour, so I got to be ready to get gone. So,
alrighty.
But I did enjoy this chat. I look forward to listening to the rest of this afterwards.
See you tonight?
Yeah. I'll be back by midday. So.
Okay. I've got it all set up except for a few things. So
yeah, I just have to come up with a gangster name of some sort. At least I still look gangsterish already. My is really convenient for all the things we're doing.
Dude, yeah, I know, dude. I see.
I went ahead and pulled an Elihu, and I used the AI to create a avatar picture of me as a gangster using my. I only let it use 3 pieces of art to come from, and that was all 3 of the icons I have. You know, the 2 ones that Yitzy made and the one that Stephanie's friend made.
Yeah, I have to come up with a monster name still, so I'll probably think of something last second.
I will say this: trying to get AI to do that was incredibly difficult when you only give it 3 pieces of art to start from, and because it kept like, "What do you mean by mobster?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Well,
say La Costa Nostra."
Well, it was like, I had to like. I literally just went to I think it was Etsy and got pictures of the hat I wanted it to wear. And then I had to upload a picture of a cigar.
Okay, bye guys.
And I had to keep teaching it with other art that isn't necessarily mine, but it was, you know, royalty free. So I figured it was okay for me to use. All because I'm trying to stick to my damn morals when it comes to AI artwork. So, but yeah, I got to come up with a name. I don't think I have one yet. But back to Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is my inner skeptic talking. I find it interesting that she chooses to resign over this. You know, because of her perceived threats from the Trump fandom, because apparently after she started going against Trump, she started getting certain death threats and having to hire private security.
Sure. Now, question really quick. Wasn't she on the panel that was investigating why the Epstein files hadn't been released?
I don't know if she was on the panel, but I know she was a proponent of it.
So here's my question really quick, and I'm sorry, I'm going to butt in on this. Is there a chance she saw some stuff in there and it changed her full thoughts? Like maybe, and I'm not saying again, just because your name's in them does not mean that you did anything wrong. Well, he talked to a shit ton of people. Let's just be honest, folks. He probably emailed a lot of people. He was in with the movers and shakers of the United States. So let's just put it out there that a lot of people's names are going to be in that, if anybody's names come out of it. But maybe she saw Trump in some places she didn't like to see Trump's name, and then she backed away from it and was wondering why at first he was against releasing it.
All right, so these are the committees that MTG was actually a part of. I just looked it up, and this is from her government webpage itself. The House Committee on Oversight and Accountability regarding the Department of Government Efficiency. Subcommittee on Counterterrorism, Intelligence, and Oversight, Investigations, and Accountability. House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic. Election Integrity Caucus, the Republican Study Committee, and the Second Amendment Caucus. That's it.
Yeah.
So no, she wasn't a part of anything regarding that particularly, other than if you want to go with the Election Integrity Caucus. So I don't know, but considering how much of some of those things have been gutted by this administration, I mean, the accountability aspects of the executive branch have been utterly gutted. Legal Eagle, if you don't subscribe to him, did a massive video about a lot of the crimes, quote unquote, that Trump has committed, and a lot of them weren't really crimes per se. It was more of going through all the little departments that he's fired everybody or put a crony in charge of when it comes to those parts of the government that are his job is to actually keep a check on the executive branch. And it basically is going to mean that for any future president, if they keep it like that, there's going to be almost no accountability. And I hope they're reinstated.
I don't think. Here's the thing. What he's done, and again, I was on. I was doing the Rule of Three on Friday, which is one of the Chaos Central shows, and I brought up a question about Mark Kelly and the other senators and people who spoke out, and they didn't really speak out. They just released a statement. They released a statement, and then Pete Hegseth comes out and says, "Oh, well, I'm going to court-martial you for saying that." Well, wait a minute. All they stated was established law, established military law, which is do not follow illegal orders. Now, what's funny is again, being in the military, I'll tell you this: do not follow military orders does not say disobey. They talk to you about this, but not in a very wide berth of ways, because it's a very subjective and open-ended law. Very open-ended, because it depends. What is
I was gonna bring up the Mark Kelly and the Democrat video later on. Right. I wanted to finish what I was saying about MTG first.
Well, okay.
Can you?
My point, though,
okay,
go ahead. My point is more to the point is that right now what Trump is doing, and when we were in this conversation about Mark Kelly, we got into the conversation about what Trump is doing is taking a little poker and going like this to every law, like testing it for, is it done? Is the meat done? Because what he wants to know is how far can I go into this law before I break this law, which is very smart. And I don't disagree with the need for it. I don't disagree that this should have been done years ago. My disagreement is who's doing it, because he's not doing it to see how firm or real that law is and why we need that law. He's trying to find out, what can I do to subvert this law? That's a different story. Some people care about the law and look for those loopholes to close the loopholes. Other people look for the loopholes to use them, and that's what he does. So he's looking for a way of how can I do something illegal at the surface, but not illegal. And I think that's what
it's kind of
the
like,
video you're talking about is kind of that is what he's
I
talking
think
about.
LDG would appreciate the comparison to like a white hat versus a black hat hacker. A white hat hacker breaks into a system, tells the people who own it that I found this vulnerability. Will you pay me some money for it? But so you can correct it. Whereas a black hat is going in to do something blatantly illegal and not telling the company about it, possibly committing other crimes in the process. It's kind of so, yeah. He's testing those loopholes in the law, but it's not so those loopholes can be closed. It's so they can be widened. But to go back to Marjorie Taylor Greene, I find it interesting, though, the timing, considering she just worked enough in Congress to get her pension for the rest of her life. I do think that was a factor in her resigning. She knows that from now on, she's going to have this massive paycheck, not massive, but more than I earn per year. From the government for the rest of her life. She's going to have, her health care taken care of by the government. And yeah, the congressional health care package is a lot better than anything I get. And plus they don't have to pay for it. And I think you're going to see her coming out with several books, I think, in the next few years about her time, being part of MAGA and the turnaround that she saw. So I think the timing was more advantageous for her entirely. Because now she gets to sidestep everything. She's leaving just before all this Epstein stuff is actually being brought to light, so she can say that whether she was right or wrong, it doesn't matter. She still had to be forced out. And I know she's going to portray it that way. She's going to portray it as she was being forced out. So I just don't think that her stated reasons are 100% the truth. And I think that would be true for almost any politician, to be honest, other than Al Franken. I miss Al Franken, God. And he was very honest about why he was resigning. He said exactly what it was for. And I wish that he hadn't needed to be honest. But that's basically the difference between certain people.
I don't know. I don't think this goes past this 4-year term, or maybe less. I don't know. Again, I find it very funny, and I said this about so I see things and trends, and I'll go kind of in a Branson detour. Those of you from the Midwest might know Branson here is like the Missouri version of Tennessee or Nashville, but we always say that was a long trip to Branson. And when we go off on a tangent, but I see this. I saw in Superman that when they started doing the city tours, when they started announcing like 6-7 months before the movie came out, which I had already seen it by that time. I saw a rough release of it, and I started seeing that, and I'm going like, that's weird. They started doing these tours where they took the main cast and they go to like New York City and do this big thing in a place. And they used to do that back in the day. They used to do big events, first runs, stuff like that. And that kind of has gone away. That's not how people do promotions for movies anymore, which is weird that they started doing that. And my first thought is like, are they trying to downplay the upcoming failure? And if you ask me, I don't think the movie was a success. I don't think it was a failure. I just don't think it was the success everybody thought it would be. Much to the same point right now, I see the Republicans doing a lot of things for no reason whatsoever, other than I think they're afraid they're going to lose in the midterms. Now, I'm not going to say they are, because I didn't say that Superman was going to be a failure. I just saw a trend going on. Like, why are they doing this? Why are we mid cycle redistricting? Why are we not backing Trump as hard as we have in the past? Why are we doing all this different stuff? And the only thing I can come up with is some people are really afraid that their groups that they've talked to, and they've been yelled at. Again, remember, there are videos coming out every day. I don't care if you think the news is liberal or not. To have that much ammo around you, where they have video of constituents yelling at senators and House of Representatives about what's going on right now. There are a lot of people that are worried. I'm not, again, I can't say that the people who vote R because it's an R are ever going to switch over to Democrat. But if the Republicans are worried right now, then if I were Trump, I would be thinking, well, maybe I should just be quiet for a while and not ruffle the feathers, because the longer he does this, the harder it is for Republicans to win their seat back. And if they lose, I don't think that they won't try to. If they get both the House and the Senate, they're going to impeach him. I don't know if they need a reason.
Just to go on your point, I also think the Democrats are worried about losing.
I do too. I think both sides are like.
I think after what happened with the shutdown, Democrats are scrambling.
We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait, though, because, again, this is going to come up again in January, and there's a good chance that with less on the line, here's the thing, with less on the line, meaning less families affected, there could be another government shutdown coming up in January, because a large portion of the sectors that were forced to close and not pay will not have to, or they'll still be paid. So they'll still be working this next time. So, and the more I've read into it, I'm like, I don't know if that was a strategic move by the Democrats or not. But my thought process is they can still close the government and bring it to a stop in enough of a way to fight for the subsidies they want in January still. It doesn't affect certain groups like it would have. So, for instance, food stamps are funded till the end of next year. So right there, they don't have to worry about that now. They were probably getting told by their constituents, "We need this. What are you doing about this?" And the Republicans, doing what the Republicans can, just said, "We're not doing anything. We're going to sit right here and do nothing." So and again, I always say this. I see what could be done with it. I see okay, all right, you won this battle, but wait till the next one. I can't say that that's what they were thinking. I would do that, though. If I were in that group, even though I wasn't the one, let's say I didn't vote for it. Let's say I was one of the people that just kind of abstained from voting, and then come back in January and be like, nope, I'm not going to do it now. You got to give me this. I gave you what you wanted, now give me what I want. Enough things can go wrong, but I don't know.
I will be worried because my health insurance premiums are subsidized by Medicaid and Medicare. I'm worried because right now I live in California, one of the places with the highest rent in the country.
Mm-hmm.
My health care costs per month are higher than my rent. And I have not been sick enough to go to the hospital in over a decade.
No, but your health insurance is exactly that, catastrophic health insurance. It means if, God forbid,
that's because I can't afford anything better. But I'm just saying, I'm worried if it goes even higher. I mean, I can't imagine it going much higher, considering all I have are my preventative stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 40 years old. Yeah, I'm a smoker. Yeah, I drink too much caffeine, despite the fact that it's the A and the alcohol for the CNA stream. I don't drink that much alcohol. But yeah, my health care is, as I said, higher than my rent. And I live in one of the most expensive areas San Diego has some of the highest rents in the country. So I might have to get another job just to pay for my health care.
I get that. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. But I don't know. Again, as long as the majority of Americans, and I do think the majority of people think this way, as long as the majority of Americans believe that federally funded and ran healthcare is socialized and communistic, you're not going to get that. What we have, and it's been slowly being torn apart, and I'll get to a little part of this that scares me more than anything. It's this somewhat federal healthcare program we have has been slowly chipped away, and really now the only thing that's left is subsidies, and those aren't even great now.
No, but I still rely on them. That's the problem.
But as long as the majority of Americans feel like it's communistic or socialistic medicine, you're never going to see that. The funny thing about it is that the majority of the world, especially the free world, has national or federally funded healthcare. And in those countries, again, people are like, oh yeah, but it takes you a year to see a specialist. Only if it's not like immediately necessary. If it's immediately necessary, okay. So I always tell this story that is a firsthand experience or a secondhand experience, but firsthand in the sense that it's my mother that had this. She went out with my two cousins and their mother, her sister, to the UK one year. They went on a 2-week, something like that, vacation over there together. And flying over there, my mom gets motion sickness, has problems with the allergies, a lot of things. She gets there, she feels dog ass sick, and she gets through customs, and the customs lady says, well, if you go down there, there's a health kiosk, and it was in the airport, and says that they can help you down there. And she says, well, she's like, I only have a limited amount of funds. She says, no, you can go down there and talk to them. It's free. Goes down there, talks to him, says, okay, you got two choices. You can give us $300 right now, and we'll take you in back, and we'll have a doctor talk to you right there. Or you can go back to your hotel room, lay down, relax for a little bit, and we will call you within, I think they said 8 hours. And then we can teledoc it. We can talk to you on the phone, try to diagnose if we need to, then bring you in. We'll do it. And that would be free. So she decided to do that. Goes back to her hotel room, lays down for a little bit. I think she said 3 hours later, she gets a phone call. Within 4 hours, she had medicine. The next day, she felt better. 2 days later, she was fine. For free. And she wasn't even a UK citizen. Why is it she can go over there and get better health care, quicker health care for free than she can get here? And she was married to a 100% VA benefited veteran.
Mm-hmm.
She's on Champ VA today. She does not she makes great money for a retiree. Just gonna say it because my father's pension went to her. His Social Security is now going to her. She has her own. I mean, she's not hurting. She has great health care here. But the response factor overseas in a country she doesn't even hold residency in was better than here.
Chris, very similar.
People don't understand this. And it's like, why don't
a very
you
similar
see
thing happened to me? For a certain health thing, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. It was easier for me with health insurance here in San Diego to get seen by a doctor, get diagnosed, and get my medications while I was visiting Mrs. Vile in Mexico. It cost me $20, approximately, to get seen by a doctor same day. So like literally going down there, going to see a doctor, getting diagnosed, getting my prescription for $20 in the in the United States, supposedly the best healthcare country in the world. It would have taken weeks to get to see a doctor, weeks for a confirmation on the problem, and the prescription would have cost me 10 times more. Yet in Mexico, Tijuana, with the murder capital of the world at one point, I was able to get everything done for $20 same day. As an American, I'm not even a citizen.
I know. I mean, I don't think people really understand the side of, again, socialized medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And until we break that stigma, we're going to be in this problem. But going back to where I was going to go, and again, the long trip to Branson on all of this was,
yeah.
What I find scary is the Republicans want to tear this down. They want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yet they still won't tell us what the fuck their plan is. They don't have a plan to fix healthcare or even try to fix it. Their plan is get rid of anything that helps people who don't have money or don't have a job that provides decent healthcare. Like me, I get pretty decent healthcare at, yes, a cost,
Mm-hmm.
but my healthcare is pretty decent. But I have privatized health. And that's the problem, is that until they come up with something and just say, here's a plan we have, I don't trust it. I don't trust anything they do, because it's like, you've been talking about tearing apart Obamacare for 16 plus years, and you still have never, in that long of a time, had 10 people in your party sit down at a table and powwow and say, what is our plan? Tear down this and give them something and tell them, here's our plan. They haven't even tried. Why is it they haven't even tried to do that? I don't care if it's, well, we're not going to give you subsidies for shitty health insurance. We're going to give you subsidies for privatized. Something. That's an answer. But they won't do it. And that makes me think they don't have it and they don't give a shit. Because they haven't.
Honestly, I don't think they do.
Plus years. That's a problem for me. Again, I would be okay with saying, well, you have to get privatized health insurance, but we're going to give you X amount of dollars a month to pay for it. Granted, probably, and I don't know about your finances, I'm not going to go into your finances, probably you would not be able to afford healthcare anymore. Now the question then is does Medicaid cover you then?
And that's one of the bad. Hold on, that was one of the bad things about Obamacare is they now force you to get health insurance, or else you can go to jail. Which,
well, they can't. They dropped that.
They stopped doing that a long time
ago.
They stopped doing that. Yeah, a long time ago.
All right, then thank you for correcting
me. That was one of the rules that they, and I disagreed with that too. It's like, if I don't want health insurance, I shouldn't be forced to. Now, granted, I think that means that my cost when I go into the hospital, the only time I say that hospital cost should be more, I think that's one of the other problems we have. All hospitals in a city or in a state or across the United States should have the same cost to fix a broken leg if I go to this one or that one. It should not matter where I go. The only difference should be if I'm not insured and I go to a different one, there should be a next level charge for out of network. And then if I don't have any insurance, should be the absolute most.
One of the things that blew my mind, now this was before Obamacare, I had a ruptured appendix.
Mm-hmm.
I may have told the story. Basically, because I had a ruptured appendix and a certain other, issues with that appendix, I had to have about a 6-inch section of my large intestine removed. Originally, they thought it was going to be a simple laparoscopic procedure, but no, they actually had to cut open my gut and pull my guts out for a little bit and do what they had to.
Fun.
My total bill at the time was $80,000. here in San Diego. And I was livid when they presented me with that bill because I'm like, it was either that or I die. So what was I going to do? And despite the fact that at the time I was also working as a office manager for a law firm, they just still didn't provide health insurance. That I couldn't believe it was that high until I went online to research other states and how much it would have cost to do that same procedure. And like you said, it should cost the same for everyone. No, for some reason, even San Diego, as expensive as it is, that $80,000 was on the low end. There were some people who received that same surgery that I had, including the removal of a portion of their colon, that were their total bill was over $250,000, and this was pre Obamacare. This is so. Seeing people had to pay that much made me feel kind of guilty that I ended up having to default on that payment. Considering those people did actually save my life. But I'm going to change the subject to the Mark Kelly thing real quick. But I just wanted to say, I definitely agree with you. Until the stigma with socialized medication and medicine goes down, because in my personal opinion, I think that anything socialized is provided by taxes from the government is a good thing with a privatized back. And what I mean by that is like the USPS. Primarily, my store, and I try not to talk about GameSwap too much on this stream, but I primarily use the USPS because it is the cheapest option for me. Now,
this would be a free option.
No. I don't necessarily think it should be free per se. I mean, my taxes are paying for it. But when it comes to the USPS,
whoever's paying for it is fine, yeah.
But when it comes to the USPS doesn't usually receive tax money. They make their money off of this stuff. That's why it works. But they're not a for-profit entity, which is why they can be cheaper. Now, say, though, that somebody wants something really quickly. When it comes to that kind of service, the USPS is not always the best option. I've had people who want their stuff overnighted. Sometimes FedEx or UPS or DHL is cheaper and quicker. So I'll use those for that person because that person is willing to pay for it. And if you're willing to pay for it, go with the more expensive option because it'll get you the service that you want quicker. By all means, we can do the same thing with socialized medicine. Have it cheaper or have the cheap option for, the nonprofit option for most people. But if you have the money, you get to have doctors that specialize in that. And hell, even let doctors do it on a case-by-case basis.
No. See, I don't think that's under the Hippocratic Oath, though. I think that they need to.
Well, what I mean is, say you're just a standard urologist, and you have 5 slots per day. Have them have 1 slot per day that is just for the clients willing to pay for that service to happen that day. That's not necessarily against the Hippocratic Oath.
Gotcha.
And if no one fills that service, say, hey, guess what? Your appointment gets bumped up if you want to come in today for the average Joe. I mean, hell, I still get phone calls. My phone number used to belong to a certain security officer, and I still get calls from people applying for jobs, and including I get sometimes his doctors calling that number. And I'm like, he hasn't had this number for 10 years. Why are you calling me? But
I've had my number for probably 20 years now, and I still get it. I'm like, what the hell?
All right, but let's go. Let's go around to the Mark Kelly thing, because I said I was going to do the stream for a little over an hour to make up for last week. Tell me more about what happened on your rule of three regarding the Mark Kelly thing, because that was definitely one of the things I was going to bring up today.
I just brought up the actually, hold on, I can tell you what the question was. I can bring you up the question that I asked. Let me look it up here. The question that I asked our panel was, or the way it went, Senator Mark Kelly and several others recently told U.S. troops they should not follow illegal orders, something firmly grounded in military law and the Constitution. Now, Pete Hegseth, acting Secretary of Defense, is threatening court-martial for the retired military personnel involved, even though they are private citizens and legally protected by free speech. Here's the question. Is this legitimate pushback against dangerous rhetoric, or is it the Pentagon overstepping and trying to silence political dissent? Should former military members, especially veterans in public office, be held to a tighter standard of speech? Or is this whole situation just another sign of a growing power struggle between politics, the military, and the Constitution? My question was basically plain and simple. I wanted to know if people believe this was something to be handled by free speech. I believe it is free speech, and being former military, I believe that you have every right to question the way things are being done compared to how they were done when you were there. I think you have every right to give your opinion on what you see is wrong. What you don't have a right to do is say, I don't care what the orders are, don't follow any orders sent down from this president. That's not what they said, though. They simply stated constitutional and federal law that a member of the military swears an oath to not follow illegal orders, and they also swear an oath to fight all forms of aggressor, foreign and domestic. Domestic, of course, for those people who don't know, is the United States. If Trump isn't a domestic threat, I don't know what it is. So, and I don't even mean that he might be trying to threaten us directly, but what he's doing to people overseas and what other countries think of us is a threat. So, yeah, no, I mean, that I don't think they did anything wrong. And the fact that this is even getting brought up, I mean, I don't think this is going to make it. I think they might try to take it to a court martial, and they're probably just going to look at it and go like, no, they're protected to say that. Again, and it also comes down to, where's your tax money going to? You got a guy, both a president and a Secretary of Defense, acting Secretary of Defense, because I'm not even sure, did he ever really get the job, or is he still just acting? Because I keep hearing acting still. It's like,
hold on, I'll look it up real quick.
But the thing is that he is wasting taxpayers' money to try to prosecute people for no reason. It's ridiculous. But again, I feel like this is a little bit of that poking a law to see what it really can do.
Yeah, and he's not actually acting. He is the Secretary of Defense.
Okay.
JD Vance broke the 50-50 tie vote in the Senate.
Okay.
So yeah, he actually is confirmed. I think when they mean the acting part is the joke about the Secretary of War thing.
Again, another fucking talk about domestic threat. Nothing like saying that to make countries outside of the United States feel like we're the United States. It's fucking ridiculous.
Now, my big issue is, well, not issue, but comment about this. is the not quite blatant, but implied threats of death to the people who did that video. Because if you followed his Truth Social, which I'm not on Truth Social, but you know, fortunately enough people have posted the screenshots, and no one's denying that he actually posted those he posted those tweets or whatever they're called on Truth Social. That this, you know, one, he's saying that they are traitors for saying that.
Yeah.
And that traitors should be put to death.
Yeah, because it's sedition, which
I know he did it in 2 different posts, but it's like you're basically. God damn it, Crow! Can you be quiet, please?
I can still hear you.
It's just, to me, that is calling for the deaths of your opponents, and that's, I don't know how you can't. I don't know how someone argues that it wasn't really that case.
Well, I'll tell you, it's really interesting because I find it funny that a guy who threw a fit about Kathy Griffin holding up a bloodied head of you.
Sorry, I'm gonna throw Crow a little bit of cornbread. Maybe they'll shut up. Sorry. Go ahead.
I just think that it's I think it's ridiculous that they're acting like this. So,
but I guarantee you that if any other politician, and I don't mean, again, Republican or Democrat, any other politician, period, had said, so-and-so is a traitor, and then the next thing they say is traitors should be killed, would get away with it. I mean, we're just so used to him doing this that we're giving him that free pass.
mm-hmm.
And I just... the Crow has political opinions too. Tell me, Crow, since you're a black constituent in the state of California, how do you feel about politics right now? Sorry, he's literally just sitting there now.
Yeah.
Hold on. Can you see him there on the fence?
Give me a second. Yeah. It doesn't. I don't know. Everything doesn't surprise me. I just find it funny that, again, this goes back to another conversation we got into after this, kind of in between topics. That was, and I said it earlier, which is where I was going originally when I was talking about Mark Kelly, is the fact that in America with the Constitution, I believe every 5 or 10, maybe 15 years, we should be going through. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Sorry about that. When I switched the camera back, my browser lost access to my camera and mic for some reason.
All right. So this, going back to when we were talking about other things, healthcare and stuff, and some of the stuff, free snacks for all crows. Yes, obviously. I brought up the fact that I believe that he's poking everything to find out the true depth of it. And what I brought up on the Rule 3 was, I believe every 10, 15, maybe 20, I don't know, but 10 to 15 years, I think it's a sweet spot. We should be going through the Constitution. And we should be going through the laws that are inherent, free speech, right to carry, all this stuff, and not changing it, but defining it for that time period. What does this really mean? What does this give you the right to do? Because 200 plus years ago, this stuff was written, and it didn't mean that you could have 80 guns in your house, because you no longer have to worry about defending 700 plus acres and that your nearest neighbor's, a 30-minute walk or an hour walk away. You don't have to talk to Farmer Bob and Farmer John that are an hour walk if you walk from one to the next, and the three of you aren't defending 2,000 acres of land or whatever from possible Native Americans, whatever. That's not where we're at anymore. So what does it mean to be right to bear arms? Should you not have any guns? I don't believe in that. I believe you should have the right to have guns. But
I agree.
Where between those two sides, where is it? Where is that? Here's where we are with this. There are too many laws that are this way right now, where you have two different sides of an opinion that are, I can do whatever I want here, to no, you can't have any right. Where is that? Because free speech for liberals is literally say whatever you want until it hurts us. And for Republicans, it's nothing that goes against, government or this or that. It's like, and for liberals, gun laws are no, none. I'm not saying all liberals are that way, but I'm just saying for the majority of them, none. To Republicans who say,
I think you and I are both, on the liberal side that own guns.
Yeah, but over here, conservatism, you can have whatever you want. There should be no laws against having whatever the fuck you want. If you want a bazooka, put it in your house. I don't care. If you want a tank, buy a tank. I mean, I'm not saying, but there are some people that are that open about it. But these laws need to be explored, but not by a guy who's trying to circumvent them. That's my problem. Who should be that person? I'm not going to say even Democrats are the right people. I don't know, but this should be an independent panel, probably, of maybe 100 people from major bases, and they all, like 100. Okay, let's say you go to the rural Missouri and your two biggest cities in a state. Same thing in Illinois. You go to Chicago, you grab 100 people, and then you go through the farmlands and the rural part of Illinois, and you grab 100 people there. And those 100 people panel, or maybe less, because 100 people is hard to get a true consensus. But let's say 15 people from these areas, and all these panels across the United States break down the laws of what the Constitution says. What does this mean to us? What does this mean to us? What does this mean to us? And then each one of those 15 people, each one of those panels say, we're going to send one person to Washington. And so now let's say you have 100 panels across the United States. Now 100 people go to Washington, sit down and say, this is what our group said. This is what our group said. This is what our group said. Find out what the majority of people believe that law means. Talk about it. Write down what it means, and then you go to Congress. You now send 3 people to Congress to say, here's what America says these laws mean. Congress says, fine, this is the new definition of it. It does not change what it is. It does not change the Constitution. We have now defined it for the next 15 years. Vote on it. Yes, it's voted for. Move forward. No, we don't vote on it. You guys got to go back, and you guys got to do it again. Maybe that's how we do it. We don't bring politicians into it all. We bring randomly, like jury selection for fuck's sake. We use the jury pool, and that's how we do it. I mean, literally, that's how it should be done.
I kind of agree with you.
I have lots of ideas for how to reform government and how to bring about a change that would actually solidify government. The problem is my ideas are crazy to people.
Yeah.
Term limits, age limits. And yes, again, I don't believe in ageism, but I know my mom should not be in politics. She's not, but I know she should.
Ageism.
That's what
You
it's
an
called.
ageist?
It's what it's called. And I tell people all the time, when it comes to politics, I'm sorry, I do believe cognitive ability. I mean, if you want to say cognitive testing every time you go up for election, okay, fine, I guess. After 55, maybe. Again,
Well,
people
what's
say, well,
funny is
that's against the Constitution,
cognitively
supposedly.
speaking, on a scientific matter, cognitive speaking, a person is most cognitive between the ages of 26 and 61. So that 61 is usually the cutoff where they say that on average your cognitive abilities will start to decline. So should we say that if the scientific merits hold up through scrutiny, should only people between the ages of 26 and 61 be available for elective purposes?
I mean, but that's the thing. I don't know. See, and I don't have that answer. Not one person should have that full answer. That should be done by a panel,
and
by a group of people that aren't actually involved in any of it. Again, if you give politicians the right to vote on this stuff, it'll never go through. Nobody will ever do it. And
Gap, I kind of like what you're thinking there. Sorry for interrupting you, Chris, but Gap,
yeah.
My issue with the polygraph test is it's wildly inaccurate. And I say that as someone who has foiled a polygraph test. Because all you have to do is, if you have any sort of control over your adrenal system, like some people do, you can bypass by screwing up the testing questions.
There's lots of ways around it, and that's why it's not allowed in courts, because they know this, and they know it's an exact science. And again, I coming from a father who's in police work and working around things that have to do with investigations and interrogations at times, I hate, like the other day I heard in one of my true crime things I was watching, they said, well, he was in the Coast Guard, so of course he dumped her body in the water. I'm like, so what does that mean? If you're in the Air Force, you're going to dump it from the air? I'm like, how does this make sense? It's like, how is that your defense? It had to have been him because he was in the Coast Guard. They found her in the water. It's like, some people are stupid. It's like, listen, I understand connections. One of the things I hate is when you hear investigators say, well, he wouldn't take the polygraph test, so of course he was our number one suspect. Well, maybe he doesn't need to take the polygraph test because he's sitting there going like, I didn't do it. Why do I need to prove it? You guys go out and prove it. And yes, that has bit people in the ass before. There are tons of people in our prisons right now who are not guilty, who are found guilty. But
I remember I was accused of a crime. I was convicted of a crime that I did not technically commit.
Mm-hmm.
And I say technically because I was convicted of a simple. My conviction was for simple misdemeanor weapons possession. I had 2 ninja stars, which in the state of California were banned. Yep. Now, because of my public defender not really giving a shit, he didn't look up when I received those ninja stars, because I received them prior to the law changing, meaning that they were grandfathered in. So yes, I was in possession of them, but because of my possession was for so long, I technically did not break that law. So, but I was still convicted of the crime that I, technically did not break. So yeah, there are lots of people who are found guilty of crimes that they did not necessarily commit. And it's because we don't have the time or resources and funding for our judicial system to process all the cases adequately.
And people who don't care. People in power who don't care if somebody is found guilty or not.
I definitely think background check should be important.
I'm gonna tell you right now. If you put in place term limits, age limits, and defined rules that are voted on by people, not by Congress. And I know I said if ultimately 2 or 3 people are going to go to Congress and present their findings. If enough people say, hey, this is how we are, this is what we decided. If enough constituents say it from both liberal and conservative areas, why would Congress not vote for it? But the thing is I don't care about the morality necessarily of my elected officials to an extent. There's a code of conduct they should have to follow. But listen, if you cheat on your wife, that's between you and your wife. I didn't have a problem with Clinton. I don't really have a problem with the things that Trump said. I think he's an idiot. I don't think he should have been in. I think to grab him by the you-know-what was a horrible thing to be caught on tape. But you know what? Again, the people
He had
who
the right to
defended
say
him,
it, but when
exactly, the people who defended him on that,
it's the hypocrisy that I disagree with.
that people want to throw Clinton under the bus for getting his knobs
Slobbered.
played with. Yeah. And insert bill here. They want to chastise him for it, but I'm like, I didn't care about that. That's between him and his wife. If Ivanka hates Trump and doesn't live there at the White House and
Melania,
shows
Ivanka's his daughter.
I'm sorry. Yes, I don't know. There's too many of them, and he's been married 3 times, and they're all mail order, except for
3 or 4.
one,
I can't remember at this point, to be honest.
like his first one was not mail order, since then mail order. Anyways, his wife doesn't want to be there. That's between them. I really don't care. His ability to be a father in the long run has nothing to do about politics. Might teach him something about having to deal with insolent people or not talking shit on people. Maybe, I don't know. But ultimately, if you put in checks and balances in a way that are pretty solid, which again, he's testing and he has every right to test them, and we should have done this long before he even came into the political spectrum. He has a right to do that. But I think if you put in certain places, and like I said, maybe, but the only thing I disagree with Dandelion on the bipartisan side is I don't think politics should be involved in it at all. You pick, again, maybe by the jury pool way. You pull up a list of qualified doctors who understand cognitive abilities and what it takes to do certain things. You say these are the tasks they're going to be asked to do. This is what we need to design a test that gets us the answer of these people capable of doing this and know the difference between right and wrong and things like that or whatever.
Chris, I'll post in the CNA pre-show politics thing a video that I bookmarked on TikTok, which was really funny because it was a guy claiming things that both sides can agree on. And literally in the comment section, almost every point he brought up, which is including the age limits and term limits things, people were arguing about. So obviously it's not something. So I'll after the CNA stream, I'll try to put that in there just so you could argue with me about it.
Well, no, that's why I don't believe though that it should be handled by politicians. It needs to be a group of people who are qualified to do it, that you don't look, are they an R or are they a D? Are they liberal or conservative? You do it by
if they're knowledgeable about that subject, period.
Hell, do it through granted, it doesn't exist almost, the Department of Health. Do it through there and say, hey, we need you to come up with a cognitive test for the United States, a standardized cognitive test. Here's what we want it to find. And that's how you do it. And then from that point on, you say, this is standardized. This is done by top doctors. And put it out there and say, if you can't pass
to the rest of the stuff I wanted to talk about, but we're going on an hour and 14 minutes. I want to get a little bit of a break in between to Geloja before the CNA. But
I have to.
it's strange how much you and I agree, Chris, which is funny. Oh
we're
yeah,
not your
Captain.
typical-
The reason I didn't do a stream last week was because me and Mrs. Vile did a date night thing. So, all right. But I'm going to go
Oh, I
ahead
was gonna
and
say-
go ahead.
I was just going to say really quick. I don't think we're your typical voting pool.
No, I don't think we are. And what's
I
even
get-
stranger is
I get mad. I get mad at calls from the Republican Party for calling me because I'm on some email list somewhere, and I get mad at the Democratic Party for doing the same thing because I'm on some email list somewhere. I'm like, do not call me. Done.
oh, I don't get the calls as much as I get the mail. I get
That
so
too.
much political mail from both sides because of that, and it's like okay, all right. But yeah, the CNA stream will start in about 15 minutes, folks. I'll see you there, or not 10 minutes.